It's a pleasure to talk about this great film. There is something very interesting about the film character Vincent. Do you think he reflects the new generation?
Oh wow. Well, I hope not. In one way, in the suicide way, I don't hope he reflects the whole generation. But in terms of ideas and visions, if people would be more concerned or aware of things like that, that would be hopeful, yes.
Yeah. Suicide is a big thematic in this film. How did you prepare yourself?
Well, it actually took us 9 years to set up this film, so I had a lot of time to think about it, and most of the topics, including the suicide, are something that are close to me, that I feel related to. I think everybody has someone close or friends where this kind of situation happens, so I think I even heard that Switzerland is a country with a pretty high rate of suicides, so probably people will know people that have been in this situation, so it's something that affects me, yeah.
Suicide takes more teenage lives than ever. Why do you think is that? Because of the social media or unhappiness?
Well, I'm not young anymore at the moment, but I've been young once, and I can only compare it to my own youth, where there was I think a lot less pressure. Like you say, maybe because of social media, and also because the world is evolving very fast. When I was young, going to the coast was wow, we go to the coast, it's not that far, but it's a holiday, and now you click one button, you can see the whole world, and you know everything that happens in China and on the other side of the world. It's becoming smaller, our world, and that creates more pressure, more possibilities. Also give you the feeling that you need to be there as well. You need to perform, and yes, maybe that creates pressure indeed, which also makes us also more and more aware of all the problems that are in the world. If somebody dies in Afghanistan, it's not close to you, but you're confronted with it every day because of the news and all the social media. So in a way that creates pressure, and it's tougher to have a life like this. And of course, the problems that our main character Vincent is talking about, they are relevant. It's about the social mishappenings in this world, about the wars, about the ecological problems we have. So I think it's very relevant, and there's a lot to think about when you're young today.
Yeah, sure.
Even when you're old.
I hope so, in a way. Vincent's room is full of a poster like Save the World. Do you remember the poster on your teenage wall?
Yeah, they were pretty similar. I grew up when it was the ending of the punk era, so I had a lot of demonstrational posters against nuclear bombs. That was a big thing, against fur, against the McDonald's opening everywhere and stuff like that. So times are repeating themselves. It's different topics. In a way, they're the same topics that evolved, but and if they don't address issues, they get bigger. And now that, like we talked in the previous question, the world is becoming smaller. It's easier to find the information on everything, and it's more apparent that we do have a problem.
And Pia says, everything changed bit by bit. What would you advise for the young people if they want to change something?
Wow, advising young people. Well, I think everything, it's a bit ambitious to say I'm going to change the world, but maybe if everybody starts with themselves, that's already something. And when you change, maybe the people around you or that are your friends are changing and maybe asking you things. So little by little things can change, I think. I don't think like that happen overnight, but as you said, a new generation is hopefully smarter and will learn from the mistakes of the previous ones. So you can only hope that.
Sure. The movie is not just a pure drama, it's also plays with family comedy. How did you find the right balance between these two tones?
Well, personally, I adore that. That's what I think makes my job fascinating. I think it's a little bit heavy to treat dramatic subjects like war and suicide and dramas in a dramatic way. I think it's easier for people to digest when you do it with contrast. If you say something funny about war, people are shocked, but at the same time they think about it. So I really love this balance. It makes it more like life, where also tragedy is mixed with happy situations, and it's also people go to cinema to enjoy themselves, to break away from the daily routine and from their own problems. So if you confront them again with too much problems, they're going to say, I don't want to go to cinema anymore. So it's another way of telling something without being too depressive.
Oh yeah, that's good. It's good. What was important for you while finding the perfect cast?
Well, I take a lot of time casting. My producers are sometimes, oh God, please decide. But it's the most important thing, of course, is the script, the story, and it's sort of a blueprint of what the film will be. But next to that, I think casting is very important, because these are the people who are going to tell your story and give life to these characters that are only paper. So I usually start just by finding the main character. In this case, it was a 17-year-old boy. And there are not a lot of 17-year-old people with a lot of experience in film and cinema. But I got lucky. It took us about 1.5 years to find him, and his name is Spencer Bogart, and I think he's going to be big because he's very, very talented. And then you construct the rest of the family and the other characters around him and make it so believably possible. I like characters that are real life characters, not he's the good guy, the bad guy. Real people aren't like that. They are much more complex. You're having people, for example, your friends, they always have also these little negative things you don't like about them, but you still love them because they're your friends. So it makes people more interesting when they are more complex.
Yeah, all right. It's a kind of road trip. It took us from Belgium to Paris and then to the Provence. Oh, how was this journey for you during the filmmaking?
Well, the whole film was indeed a whole journey as well psychologically as literally. So we took the whole crew from Ghent, a city in Belgium, where I grew up, to the Mediterranean in the south of France, and it was the characters have this internal voyage. Psychologically, they evolve from the beginning of the story, where his mind is more closed and narrow-minded, towards a more openness and a more hopeful future. And I wanted to show that in a real journey as well. We start in grey little Belgium, and we go towards the south with more sun, with more openness, more colors, and so the external world is a bit parallel to the story.
It's important for you to tell a current story.
In a way, I think all stories are current, even science fiction films. The setting and the decor is maybe not current, but the psychological stories, the dramas, they are every day. They're the same. If it's a real story, it can happen in Africa, or in New York, here in Zurich, or in Belgium. It's the same thing. If it's real, people will recognize it.
And what makes a film great for you?
What makes this film great?
All films.
All film. For me, a film is great when it touches me. It can be in various ways. It can make me angry, it can make me cry, it can make me feel happy, but it needs to do something with me and make me think about things afterwards.
Yeah.
If I'm already, during the credits, walking out of the theater thinking about something else, I won't remember this film. It won't have affected me, so I like it to affect me.
And especially by this film?
Sorry?
By this film, what do
this
you like?
film?
Yeah.
Well, maybe you should ask this question to somebody else, because I made it and it's difficult to... For me, it's still fresh, so I'm too close to it.
Yeah.
I have a lot of feelings and emotions about making it and how we did it for the past 9 years. But I I do not have the distance yet to watch it as a film. I might do that in a few years, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's a question for someone else, I think.
I can say I love it. Yeah,
Well,
it's
thank
great.
you.
Vincent, suicide should be like a statement. Do you think a filmmaker have also the responsibility to culture, to tell something?
That's a dangerous question in a way, because sometimes art is just art, but also in a way art in general is always a reflection of what's happening in society. It's always the influence of somebody, a painter or a poet or somebody who writes a story. It is because something happened to him in his life and he wants to talk about it. So in a way, artists tell something about the world around them. And for me, it's in this way, I thought it was really relevant to tell this story, and there's a lot of stuff in it that you can think about. So, but then again, everybody has to decide this for himself as well.
And at least, could you tell us something about your future plans?
The future plans now include taking a bit of time off and re-evaluating what I want to do in this life. If it's in this world, it's becoming more and more difficult to find the means to make films as well. It takes a lot of time. Like, it's incredible. I'm happy that it's finally finished as well. It took us 9 years, and at the moment I don't have the patience and the means to wait another 9 years to make a film. So I'm really thinking about what I'm going to do next.